The latest on the legal process involving a proposed entertainment district in Norman. New details on the Bibles coming for some classrooms, and the discovery of a new bee species in Oklahoma. This is the KGOU PM NewsBrief for Wednesday, November 20th. I'm Deborah Shar. The city of Norman has announced that a legal protest was filed against the petition to bring the Rock Creek Entertainment District to a public vote. KGOU's Nick Daniels reports.
The nearly 120-page legal notice contests the certification of Oklahomans for Responsible Economic Development's petition. Opponents argue that the petition is misleading and violates state referendum laws, but supporters of the vote say the $1 billion district deserves public input. The Norman City Clerk previously verified over 10,000 valid signatures, meeting the requirement for a ballot question. The Cleveland County District Court will now decide if the petition is valid. If so, the question will be on the ballot for the February 11th election. The project includes an arena, retail, and dining funded by private donors and a tax increment financing district. I'm Nick Daniels.
House Speaker-elect Kyle Hilbert says his goals for the 60th legislature await his majority caucus's retreat in the coming weeks. State Capitol reporter Lionel Ramos reports on Hilbert's comments following the swearing-in ceremony for House members today.
With 17 new members and 101 representatives to lead, House Speaker-elect Kyle Hilbert says it's too soon to get into a full list of priorities. He hasn't met with his fellow Republican Majority Caucus to suss that out. Following the House's swearing-in ceremony, reporters asked Hilbert about his chamber's direction.
Obviously, we've voted for various tax cuts as a House in the past, but we're going to see what does the economy look like, what does the Board of Equalization report look like coming out in December, and then decide as a caucus where do we want to go from here.
Senate Bill 1, the first measure filed across the rotunda, proposes an income tax cut given certain revenue increases year after year. Either way, Hilbert says he looks forward to working with the Senate to continue tax and budgetary talks. He says the two chambers have a great relationship heading into lawmaking season. In Oklahoma City, I'm Lionel Ramos.
New details are emerging about the State Department of Education's purchase of more than 500 Bibles for advanced placement government classrooms. State Impact's Beth Wallace reports on the type of Bibles purchased.
The Tulsa World newspaper obtained a purchase order showing the 532 Bibles were the God Bless the USA Bibles endorsed by President-elect Donald Trump. This order is separate from a bid solicitation to purchase 55,000 Bibles that was canceled earlier this month. That proposal was revised before its cancellation at the urging of the Office of Management and Enterprise Services. After speculation, it was tailored to the Trump-endorsed Bibles. The revision broadened the requirements for the Bibles and added pricing to its evaluation criteria. The Trump-endorsed Bibles are $60 each. Agencies don't have to solicit bids for purchases under $25,000. Because the Bibles were purchased for $24,500, the agency was able to circumvent that process. For State Impact, I'm Beth Wallace.
A newly discovered species of bee in Oklahoma has researchers abuzz across the country. State Impact's Chloe Bennett Steele reports the insect is one of more than 1,500 kinds of mining bees in the world.
The bee Andrena androphobia flew under the science community's radar until researchers from the University of Oklahoma, Washington State University, and the Central Texas Melitological Institute analyzed DNA information and observed what they say is unusual behavior: pollinating plants in the tomato family. That information came from a new research paper and news release this month. Scientists think it likely formed its own branch in the mining bee family more than 12 million years ago. The pollinator was documented in Oklahoma and Texas in the years before its naming. OU Assistant Professor of Biology James Hung helped discover the bee. He says Oklahoma is a treasure trove of biodiversity, but more environmental protections are needed for pollinator habitats. I'm Chloe Bennett Steele.
You can find more Oklahoma news on our website, kgou.org, and on the KGOU AM NewsBrief podcast. I'm Deborah Shar.
No matter what happens in Washington, the NPR Politics Podcast is here for you. For the latest news, insights, and analysis from the election and beyond, listen to the NPR Politics Podcast.